Now, handle submit is still quite long and doing way too much. And it is doing something very repetitive. Over and over, we're doing document.createElement list item, right? And then we're appending some text to it. That belongs in a function, doesn't it? Even told you what to call the function. Let's call it renderListItem. So, if this seems overwhelming, don't forget to break it down. What does it need to know in order to render the list item? What information does it need from the outside? Like render color, it couldn't really create that div until it knew what color to build, right? So what's going to be different about each list item? So how does that manifest itself in the list item? Like the text that's going to show up in the list item, right? That's going to be different every time. Doesn't necessarily matter that it comes from the form. It does in this case. But what's going to be different is the contents, right? But it's going to be a list item every time. So we don't need to like pass in the string li to render list item. It's called render list item. It's always going to be a list item. So we can probably put document.createElement li in there. And we'll save it to something, but it's not, we're not going to call it name item or something because it's going to be a different one. So we'll just say const item equals document.createElement li. Because regardless of which list item it is, that part's going to be the same. But the text is going to be different every time. So I think you called that the value. So for each of these, we're saying name colon whatever the name is, age colon whatever the age is, and favorite color colon the div containing that color, right? So there's kind of two things. There's the label, and then there's the actual value, right? We kind of need both of those pieces of information. Like the word age doesn't actually come from the form, but it changes with each list item. So it seems to me maybe we need two arguments to this thing. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? To build this list item, we need to both know what goes before the colon and what goes afterward. We could build that entire string outside, but I say we build it in here. Since all of these list items are structured the same way, I like the idea of passing in a label and a value. And this is not going to be an HTML label. It's just a string that is serving the purpose of labeling something. So don't type this next part, but here's what I'm getting at. I want it to work like this. I want to be able to say render list item name Nathan, like that. I want it to work like this. When you're writing a function, it's a good idea to know how you want to call that function, how you're going to use it later. It helps you design it. So I want to be able to do something like this. So that's the idea here for two arguments. How can we make that work? Need to throw some text content in there, don't we? So we've already got the item. We could set the text content equal to something like label colon value. Seem legit? What else do I need to do? Sasha, return the thing, right? Don't want to forget that again. Return the item. It's short. It's 3 lines. Let's see if it does anything. Don't forget to refresh. And let's call render list item. Gosh, I still got stuff in here from last year. Sure, label dog breed. Value corgi. Yay. I've got a list item with dog breed, colon, corgi. favorite dino. Triceratops. Cool. Doesn't matter what those are or where they came from. The point is, if you pass those to renderListItem, it gives you back a list item that looks like that. It could come from a form. We could type it in here. It doesn't matter. It's flexible. Cool. So I think right off the bat, this would work for name and age, right? So let's put it in there. renderListItem. We no longer need to create the LI. And the text content will be set inside there. So we can do something like, well, right down here where we append child. Instead of name item, it'll be renderListItem, passing in name and username. Does that much still work? Refresh the page, put a name in there. Still works. Let's do the same with age. renderListItem, age. Notice it actually auto-completes the stuff that we wrote ourselves. Age, and I believe it was just called age. Yeah. So get rid of these. Refresh. Does it work? Same. Hey, that's my age too. What do you know? Remember the Challenger explosion? Man, that sucked. Okay. There you go. Still works. The age shows up there. Doing the color seems tricky. So maybe we should celebrate our win and go ahead and commit what we have. Hey, I got a secret. There's a Git client built right into Visual Studio Code. Anybody stumble across that already? Already know that? Yeah. See this? That may look like a flux capacitor, but it's actually like a branch. Click that. Oh man, we've got changes in index.js. Click on that and it'll show us what our changes are. We added these lines. We added these lines. We removed these lines. Right there it says message. So what if I just type, and it says command enter to commit. So extract renderListItem function. I could either hit the checkbox here or I could say command enter like it suggested. The little blue thing went away as though I no longer have anything to commit. Could it really be that easy? I'm skeptical. Let's look. Git log. Holy smokes, it did it. Extract renderListItem function. Huh. Well, that seems easier. Let's git push. Because you'll notice in the log there, this is just local. It's not on origin master yet, right? So this is showing us that this is where GitHub is. This is where we are locally. So we have something that isn't pushed. Just in case our desk jumps up in the air and lands on top of our laptops, we want to push that so that all our code is in ye old cloud. Very nice. Questions? Oh, by the way, I keep doing git log. To get out of this, you might find that you don't know how to exit this once you're looking at the log. You just hit Q.